This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for, making sure that we're actually being recorded. Folks, welcome. Welcome to the first session of Kabbala Pathworking 2025. I'm so excited, and I'm particularly excited to see so many people here that I recognize from past years. It's exciting. Folks, we're a small group this year, and that's nice because we're going to have a more, let's just say, I'm going to use the word intimate experience, especially working with one another in our community and sharing dreams and sharing experiences and so forth. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit looser and more comfortable because of the smaller size of the group. That's great. We may grow a little bit, but I don't expect us to get a lot bigger than we are. And a lot of you have been through this at least once before, some of you twice before. And I know that's just going to be absolutely wonderful. And Lisa's here saying, please make me an organizer. Lisa, I love you. I will definitely make you an organizer because you deserve that. There we go. That means that Lisa has a backup copy for us in case my tape goes, or as has been sometimes happening with the GoToMeeting program. There are occasions, unfortunately, where it seems like I get kicked off, but because she's an organizer, I can come back in. Okay, Lisa, you're an organizer now, so that should all work for you. Okay, I am expecting a few more people, but I'm going to dive right in. And please forgive me, I'm going to shut my camera off. Now, that means that I'm not going to be able to see you folks either, but that also means that I'm going to be able to see the chat and I'm going to be able to see my slides. If you have a question, you certainly can ask it at any time. If you post your question into the chat room, I'm going to see it. If you, I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but if you go to where it says React in the middle of the screen and click that, you're going to see a place to raise your hand. So you're going to be able to raise your hand and I can call on you. Or you can just, yell out, hey, I need to talk. Because, folks, I do not have anyone muted here. So I'm going to appreciate it. Everybody already knew this, but I'm going to appreciate it if whenever you come into the calls, if you mute your mic right away. I'm going to start this evening with, I don't know if I want to call it a wow, you're going to get a lot tonight, or a apology if I'm going to keep you overtime. But I do want to tell you that normally these classes will run somewhere around an hour and a half long on your Wednesday evening, but tonight's class might be longer because this is the only class that I have the intention of really teaching Kabbala in the classroom sense, where you're going to really learn what it is, where you would actually be able to go out into the world and have an intelligent discussion with somebody about what Kabbala actually is, as opposed to how does it feel. Because in all of the other classes that we do, once we get into our actual path working routine, we're going to be feeling our way up the tree of life. It's not real important to memorize anything or to learn anything by rote. You can if you want. You can go ahead and study all kinds of incredible books and texts and use that information to accompany the class if you want, but that is not necessary. The only place that I'm going to go into detail about the actual patterning and the way the tree of life is put together is right here tonight in this class. If we have time, I'm also going to take you on a little journey so you get a feeling for what path working is. We'll see if we have time, how much I go over. I do know this class is probably going to be closer to 2 hours than that hour and a half. So yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be chock full of information. I'm here to answer your questions right off. But if if you're somebody who was clocking in for an hour and a half, you're going to be a little disappointed because you will miss the tail end. However, as always, I am recording it and Lisa will be sending you out the recording immediately after. Okay. Now, before I actually jump in, obviously you can see my PowerPoint, and I'm going to use my PowerPoint as talking points on the way through. But before we do that, I want to show you something else, okay? We have, I'm looking at my website here just so you can be aware that what I'm looking at here, okay? On the website, you're going to see all the way at the top where it says My Library, right? Well, if you click on My Library, That's, you have to sign in, of course, to get into the library, but that's going to take you to a section that says My Courses. And when you slide down the cursor and you look at My Courses, you're going to see Kabbala Pathworking there. So if you haven't done this already, because all of you will have this in your library, okay, what I want you to do is to click on where it says Kabbala Pathworking, and that's going to take you to the class. Now, this class used to be set up as a drip class, one class coming out at a time. Nowadays, you just get the whole ball of wax at once. But because the way that we do this is going through one path, discussing it, experiencing it, then the next, discussing it and experiencing it, I would prefer that you don't jump ahead, that you just go through it at the same pattern that the rest of the people in the class are. So even though it's no longer a drip program, I'm going to ask you to treat it like a drip program. Okay, and now this says resume course because I've been through it before. For you, it's just going to say new course unless you're a return student. And tonight we're right here. We're going to be doing our introduction. There's a mini path you get to have an experience with. There's all kinds of information. The class schedule is here. All kinds of wonderful, wonderful things to take a look at. And this Kabbala Pathworking book is also going to be fully downloadable in here. Now, I definitely recommend that you download the Pathworking book. It's a PDF. You can download it right to your computer or your tablet, and that way you're going to be able to refer back and forth with it. You're going to even be able to print it out if you want. There are sections you might want to print out so that you can write in it like a diary. Certainly, you're going to want to print out the mandalas that are in the book so that you can color them. That's a big part of what we do. And let me see if I can find the spot in here. It's usually on the right side where it actually has the handouts here. It's going to be down here a little bit further. Okay, let's try this where it says outline. Yeah, here it is. So I clicked into outline, and here I'm getting more information on that. Okay, I get to actually where I listen to the mini path. I can go into the next category, and that's going to give you your homework. It's going to give you where you can download everything. You're going to need to explore this a little bit on your own, okay? But you can see right off that all of the tools that you need are going to be right here in the class, okay? Before I move on, this is important because I want you to be able to find this on your own. Path 32 training, that's what you're going to be doing next week. Are there any questions on where to find your program online? By the way, if you have the Kajabi app, you can also access this program right there in the app. So you can listen to the paths in the app. You can download the book onto your tablet from the app. You can do all that work right from the app. Are there any questions on that, or are you going to be able to handle that on your own? Because that's important. I don't want to leave anybody hanging. Okay. Well, Doreen, you've been through this before, so you got this. You're a pro. Okay. Okay, so you understand how to use that. That, like I said, is very important. Now, while I'm on here, I want to show you something else. Also in the library, you're going to find, yeah, Lisa's saying we have two new folks tonight. Lisa, are our new folks here yet? Because I want to make sure that they've got this. This is important information.
They are here. That would be Melinda and Ginger.
Okay, then both of them, I have a feeling, have already been looking through the library. Okay, because both of them are pretty savvy ladies there. Okay, now you also have been giving in your library where it says Kabbala Pathworking Community. And in the community, you can join in and write about your experience. You can ask questions. Lisa and I monitor the community constantly. So this is an ongoing, in my past many years of teaching this, I've found that the community is, in this particular class, is extremely active. Don't be shy, don't hesitate. We're going to post our mandalas. We're going to write our questions, our experiences, and our dreams, and we're going to all participate. This is where we get the most participation in the class. So even though you're meeting with me here on a weekly basis for questions and answers and going over things, that's only part of the class. The community is a very big part of this class. So Make sure that you join it, that you know how to join it. It's joined the same way that your regular program is. Now, remember, back to the program a minute, it's in this program. See right up here? There is your path. When I click this arrow, I'm going to listen to the audio path. So it's right here on the program. So when I talk about listen to the path on a Sunday, this is where you're going to go to listen to the path. Okay. And when I say color your mandala, you're going to go and locate the mandala, which is what I was kind of looking for before. And Lisa usually tells me where to find all these things. Lisa, why am I having trouble locating the mandala? Oh, there it is. You have to go into path 32. It's not on the initial, it's not on the first class, it's on the second class. So it's in path 32. And lo and behold, you're going to see each path has a word find, which is a fun little game. That's an extra you can just play if you want. Each path has simple directions on how to follow it. A pathworking checklist, we're going to go over what that is so that you'll always know to take care of these particular things when you do your path. Then there's the path journal, which gives you, you're going to want to download that because that's going to give you sheets of paper that has, okay, this path left me feeling like this. I had these experiences during the week. So it's like a diary. This is just an outline for the path, but this is the mandala for the path. Let me see if I can pull one of them up. Nope, it's not wanting to pull up right now. Okay, probably because I have too many things. Oh, see this, it went into my download folder. Folks, forget it. I'm not going to go into the download folder to get it for you. But when you download this to your own computer or tablet and then print it out, you're going to be able to color it. You're going to have these beautiful pictures that you can color. And of course, there's the MP3 if you wanted to just listen to it separately, like if you have the app and you only want to listen to it at night before you go to sleep, there's just the music. Okay, so here it is. Okay, I think I've covered that. That was important because I do not, one of the things I hate is when I get a new program because I'm not technical. And when I get a new program and nobody showed me how to use it, it frustrates me to spend the first 6 weeks trying to figure out how to use the program when I really want to be taking the program. So you should know how to use it and be able to jump right in immediately. Let's go back to the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you
Yes.
click off of it too fast. I was going to say, if you scroll down just a little bit on that page, I think it shows that mandala.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. And you're going to find, if you're new, that Lisa and I sometimes are like a comedy strip, or because everything that I get lost in, she already has the answer to. Here's the mandala for Path 32, which incidentally is what you are going to be coloring going into Sunday, because on Sunday you're going to be doing Path 32. Okay, put that in the back of your mind. That's homework. This class does have homework. It's very simple. It's coloring your mandala, which is a lot of fun. Your own way. There's no rules for coloring it. Okay, print it out and color it. If you're fancy like David is, you might have an electronic program that you can color it on, but you don't have to. I usually color mine with colored pencils. Even if you've taken the class before, I strongly recommend you print out your mandalas and color them. These mandalas actually are kind of like a Rorschach test. Um, they give us clues as to how the path is going to be affecting you. So no rules, do it your own way, but make it yours. That's the only rule, make it yours. And then we're going to be able to load up these mandalas into our community and talk about some of them each week, which is really a lot of fun. Lots and lots of symbols and insights in these mandalas. So on Sunday, you're going to, or Saturday night, you'll color the mandala, or Sunday morning. And then sometime after that on Sunday, you're going to listen to the MP3 for the 30-second path. And that starts our movement up the tree of life. Thanks, Lisa. That was quite, as always, helpful. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's go back and look at what we're going to talk about tonight. Folks, believe it or not, this diagram right here is the Kabbala. Oh, Melinda's saying the app doesn't show the Word document. I'm not quite understanding, Melinda. Can you open your mic and ask the question? Maybe I'll understand it better verbally.
You sure? Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I just the list, like I was just in the app looking, and the first one that I have is the checklist. then simple directions. It just, whatever that word one was that you said.
Well, did you downloaded the Kajabi app, right?
Yep.
Okay. And let
Yeah.
me just go in. I have my little trusty telephone here, so let me download it and I'll see if I can be on the same page as you. Um, so I'm downloading it, and oops, let's see. And I see Kabbala Pathworking. There it is. And as soon as you open the Kabbala Pathworking, I don't know if you can see that, you get a list of everything. There's the introduction, there's Path 32, Path 31. Is that what you're looking at too? Just what I have here?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you click on, remember, the introduction is only going to have the introduction path. You're going to need to actually click into week 1, where it gives you the Path 32 and Path 32 homework. And then when you click on Path 32 training, it's going to give you the audio to listen to. That's the picture with the arrow on it. Oops, we don't want to hear that. And then if you scroll down, it really looks just like what we just saw. It tells you areas the path is going to help you deal with. It gives you the correspondences on the 2 paths. And I see what you're saying is it doesn't have the downloads, but it does. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, are you able to see that, Melinda?
Yeah.
Or
It's
is it?
just, I think it was just the one that, like, it has the checklist, the directions. It's probably not a big deal because you said it was
Well, it
optional.
has but it had the downloads are at the bottom. They're way at the bottom of the page. You've got to scroll, and it has Kabbala Path 32 Word Find. So it has everything that the one online has. It has the simple directions, the Kabbala Path Working Checklist, Kabbala Path 32 Journal, Kabbala Path Outline, Kabbala Mandala.
Oh,
Now,
mine.
yeah, it has it all. But I'm going to have to locate the book itself, or else maybe Lisa can while we're talking. She's super good at finding these things. But I mean, the book is copious. Hang on a minute. I have it sitting right up here.
It's you know what it is mine doesn't have the word find, which is fine because you said that one was for fun anyway, but mine actually doesn't have all of the same links.
That's interesting. It should, because that's the app. I don't understand it, but
I
then
know.
I'm not a tech person. My book has got a black cover. If you bought your book from Amazon, it's available. It would have a yellow cover, because this is the first one off press, and I didn't like the black. I couldn't see the picture, but this book is very, very thick. It has, counting the number of pages here, 332 pages. It's huge. If you're a person like I am, who is book oriented, you're going to want to either purchase the book on Amazon, and it's in the 20s somewhere. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive. Or you're going to want to take the time to sit with your ream of copy paper and copy it out and then put it into a spiral notebook. And I've had a lot of students who've done that too. So the PDF of the book is included with the class, but depending on how you want to do it. And then some people just download it onto their, their iPad or their tablet, and read it. Just scroll through it and read it, and that works too. I like to be able to write on it and mark it up and stuff like that. So you know how you best like to work, but so you have options. Okay. Um, Lisa is in the class here in the chat. She says, I send out the word find to you, Mel. So if you'd like it, they're cool puzzles. Oh, very cool. Lisa, thank you. Yes. Yeah, they are. One of my past students did that word find, and she must have had a little program that created it. And it's a lot of fun. And it really is a way of getting familiar with the terminology, I think, of the Kabbala. So it's kind of fun. Melinda, did that answer your question well enough, at least for tonight?
It sure did. I'm trying to stop
Excellent.
the video and type at the same time. I'm like, ah.
Right. And if they may have updated the app, and mine just didn't update. I have an old iPhone. I don't know. But if there's anybody else here who's missing anything from the app, always remember you can contact Lisa, and Lisa can email it to you, because everything that's in this class, obviously we had to upload it onto Kajabi. We have it. So if you can't get to it, we can get it to you. Okay, no problem. Okay. Now back to my diagram. if you were, well, let me just say to begin with, when I'm teaching, Lisa says you can also use a computer or an iPad. Yes, true. Um, if you had been studying Kabbalah back during the Middle Ages, you would have been studying something that was preserved by the Jewish community that we don't really know where it came from. It was the most hidden, sacred part of the Jewish religion. You had to be 40 years old, have mastered the Torah, which is extremely rigid, and been male in order for them to even think of giving you instruction in it. And then when you got your instruction, it was a line drawing of these 10 circles, they're called sephiro, joined by the 10 lines that are called paths. And over the next 60 years or so of your life, if you were lucky, they gave you a tidbit of insight, maybe every year, i.e., this was knowledge that was hoarded. And it was interesting because all through the Middle Ages, it was a totally verbal tradition. There's a lot of conjecture. No, like I said, nobody really knows where the Kabbalah came from, but the Jews did spend a lot of time in Egypt. It's my belief that they picked up the knowledge in Egypt and couched it, which was a very advanced society way back when, and they couched it in the Kabbalah to preserve the knowledge until a later date when it could be understood. Okay, and here we are at the later date. Meanwhile, after the Middle Ages, something interesting happened around the time of the Cultural Revolution, is that all of a sudden there were a lot of people beginning to write books on the Kabbalah. In today's world, if and they were all in Hebrew, by the way. Most of us don't speak Hebrew. We wouldn't be able to read them. Certainly, I couldn't. But back when I started learning Kabbalah, which was in the 1970s, um, I went into a couple of bookstores, and I could find books on the Kabbalah. I could find dozens of books on the Kabbalah. There were hundreds of books on the Kabbalah. They were all written by Jews who were 40-year-old men or older who had been trained by other 40-year-old men. You're getting the feeling that this Jewish tradition of the Kabbalah is like literally wearing a, a straitjacket. Okay, it's all about wars and angels smiting angels and people being thrown out of heaven and an angry God, and it's not it wouldn't have attracted me at all. Plus, I couldn't read it because I don't speak Hebrew, and I wasn't a man, and I wasn't 40 years old, so nobody was going to teach it to me. So I went to bed at night trying to figure out the common root between the things I was studying in metaphysics, which were astrology and tarot and numerology and all kinds of magical things and traditions and colors. And I was looking for the common denominator that could tie all of these wondrous things I was learning about together because I felt that they were the same, just using different languages to talk about the same journey of the soul. And I guess I wasn't the only person who had that and was frustrated because we couldn't find the Kabbalah in English and we couldn't find anybody who would teach us the Kabbalah. And lo and behold, this bunch of us all over the planet, so I wasn't the only one, we went to sleep at night and we woke up on what you guys will eventually see is the astral plane. And there I was sitting in a classroom. Remember those little half desks? If you're old enough, when we were in high school in the 70s, we were in half desks. Well, I would be sitting in that half desk looking at this guy up on a stage in the far distance, surrounded by like 300 other people at half desks, and we were all listening to instruction in the Kabbalah. And oddly enough, it was being taught in mathematical terms, which in the dream state was very understandable. In my waking life, it would be like, huh? But I was getting it, okay? And out of that, I was in school on the astral for months. And out of that experience birthed this program, Kabbala Pathworking. But it wasn't the only thing. All of a sudden, books began to appear called the Western Mystical Kabbalah in English that explained the way the universe is created. It explains the dynamic energies, the push and the pull, and the balance between good and evil, and the various planes of the universe, and the denizens that live on each of those planes, and how you had best to handle yourself and emotionally react to be able to move through and gain and learn from those planes and awaken and raise your consciousness. That's what the Western mystical Kabbalah is all about. It is very, very different from the Judaic Kabbalah. As I said, in the Judaic Kabbalah, you have to be, well, you don't anymore. They changed it. When the Western mystical Kabbalah came out, it kind of challenged the Judaic Kabbalah. And for example, I had a rabbi's wife back in the 1970s come to me to learn Kabbalah because her husband wouldn't teach it to her. So I taught it to her, and he began to become a little more open-minded. So the thing is, there's two different approaches to Kabbalah. I don't want to shoot the Jewish people down. I think it's a great tradition. It is the mystical side of Judaism. When they study it long enough and deep enough, they also move to these other levels that we just jump right into. Okay, so in the Western mystical Kabbalah, we're kind of getting right to the root of things. And in the Kabbalah pathworking, you're learning it from the inside out. You're learning it by moving into a guided meditation each week. You're using artwork to stimulate your subconscious mind, and you're growing from the inside out and understanding and expanding your consciousness and your awareness. And you don't need to study anything about the Kabbalah to make that happen. Surprise, surprise. Now, this class tonight is the only one where I'm actually going to give you a little bit of instruction on the actual Kabbalah, the way you would be able to talk to a Jewish person about it, or anyone else who is in the Western mystical Kabbalah tradition and also studying it. There are some great books, by the way, on the Western mystical Kabbalah. I think my very favorite is called Simplified Magic. And that it isn't about magic, it's about the Kabbalah, but it is absolutely wonderful. That's by Ted Andrews. And then there's a very nice, easy to understand book by Gonzalez Whippler that's called A Kabbalah for the Modern World. And these are still available on Amazon. Dion Fortune is the first person to discuss the mystical Kabbalah at all. And she wrote a book called The Mystical Kabbalah. Different pronunciation than mine. She uses a QA instead of a K, but it still is the Kabbalah. And she wrote that book back in the 1920s, and it was the first foray into the Western mystical Kabbalah. And I was so grateful she wrote it, because that's really what got me understanding that there really was a roadmap to higher consciousness, where all of the things that I was studying could be pulled together and understood. And this is it. It's the Kabbalah. It ties everything you will ever learn, anything, not just in metaphysics, in the sciences, in the arts, in business, anything you will ever learn has a home on this roadmap. And when you find yourself attracted to a symbol or attracted to something you're wanting to learn, you can find it on this roadmap and get an insight as to what your higher consciousness is getting you to expand and grow into right now. So it's an absolutely phenomenal tool. Okay. I know this sounds complicated, but let's take a look at it and simplify it. This is kind of an overall diagram. By the way, everything here is in your book, the one you're going to download or buy on Amazon. This top set row is the spiritual plane, period. Okay, that's the divine self, the Godhead, if you will, that point of origin, which is God. And in the Kabbalah, we call that Kether. Incidentally, Hebrew is a lost language. There are only two original languages left on the planet. By original language, what I mean is that to say the word is to say the thing. The two of them are Hebrew and the one that the Indians use that's escaping me in the moment. It'll come to me later. Now, in the case of the Indian language, that is still spoken. It is still a true language, so it's magical. In the case of Hebrew, it's not. Hebrew stopped being spoken oh God, probably shortly after Christ was born. It was a long, long time ago. So Hebrew was lost to the world. And when the current state of Israel was birthed and they wanted to use Hebrew as a language, they had it in writing. They knew how it was written. So they went to the surrounding desert tribes to see how they spoke these words. And they pulled a language together from those different pronunciations of the desert tribes around that area. But who knows what the real pronunciation is? And I say that to you so that you don't fret if you say these words wrong, because only God at this point knows how they should have been pronounced. Okay? So the top Sephirah, which would be the Godhead, is Kether. And the next three, so we'll include this in it, the next three Sephirah, that would include Kether, be Hokmah, that CH is pronounced like a H. Sometimes you'll see it written like on some tarot cards as J, and you want to say Jokma, but it's pronounced like Ha, like the Spanish version of the J. So this is Hokmah, and if you want to pronounce it Chokmah, you can, because remember, there's no real pronunciation known. It's divine force. This is the father of all, the male force of the universe. And on the other side of the tree, at the top of this pillar, each one of these is called a pillar, okay? At the top of this pillar, we have Bina, the mother of all. That's the divine feminine. So these three together are called the supernal triad. And behind them, with this dotted line, we have something called the abyss. And we call that Sephro, Daath. Now, you don't find that on all Kabbala drawings, only on some. And there is some conjecture that this is actually the fallen angel, and that Doth fell to the bottom of the tree and became Malkuth, where we live, the earth plane, and left a hole, and that hole is called the abyss. Okay? So that's just a little bit of information. We aren't going to do anything with Doth other than cross it. We'll walk across it. That's about it. Now, the next level down gives us the plane of higher consciousness, where we have volition, which is pronounced the way I learned it, Givora. So we pronounce that B like a V. And on the other side of the tree, the male side, we have memory, or Kesed is the Hebrew name. And then the higher self, we all know who our higher self is, right? It's that invisible part of ourselves that we are actually a part of it. Well, that higher self is actually lower than all these other Sephirah. Isn't that cool? So your higher self is not the apex of creation. It's kind of like midway to the top, maybe. Okay. And then we call that Tifereth. We pronounce that PH as an F, Tifereth. And then we have the upper astral, which are these next two Sephirah. And the tree does something interesting at this level, by the way. Right around the higher self level, just below it, between higher self and the upper astral, that would equate to this area just below your nose in your own physical body, because the tree, you'll see in a minute, represents your physical body too. At that point, it goes, it swishes around, because you see the tree of life is mobile, and that is a spiral. So the bottom half of the tree swaps places with the top half. So all of a sudden, even though Netzach, feeling or perception, is on the male side of the tree, it acts very feminine. And even though Had is on the feminine side of the tree, it acts very masculine. These two Sephirah are called the upper astral. Then we go to the lower astral. This is the one we had the most fun with. Honestly, the lower astral is where humankind is passing through en masse right now. Anybody here know anyone who lives in drama? Know anyone who lives in their emotions? Who relates to everything in their life emotionally? Who gets upset and cries if you look at them sideways? Do we know anybody like that? Okay. That's lower astral. That's where your emotions reside. We call that Yesod. It is the vital soul. There is so much energy connected to your emotions. Have you noticed how when you get into this really big old fight, and all of a sudden there's all that free energy floating around and you feel drained? Okay. Or maybe somebody who likes a fight get energized by it. Okay. It's interesting. That is Yesod. We're going to learn how to navigate that without it bothering us so badly. Okay. And then down on the bottom, we have the physical plane, which equates to your physical body, and that's Malkuth. Now, on this bottom part of the tree, Malkuth equates to the whole physical body. Yesod equates to your emotional body. Hod equates to your mind, your mental body. Netzach equates to that part of you that has flashes of insight and is totally not emotional but feeling oriented. Okay, urges, insights, understanding, spontaneous downloads. That's Netzach. And then, of course, the higher self is that part of your being that sits up here outside of time. You can almost draw a line right across here. Time exists below in this part of you that's physical. And everything above this upper astral is outside of time. Time ceases to exist up here. Now, there's an important concept here everybody needs to get. Even though your physical body consisting of the physical self, okay, the emotional self, the mental self, the desire body self, even though our physical body, our physicality in 3D encompasses this, a piece of us still lives on every other plane in the universe, all the way back to the point of origin. That's why the Kabbala works, because as we do our pathworking experience, we're going to be tapping into those higher parts of us that have a quality of wisdom that this little part of us that exists in 3D couldn't possibly even conceive of. And yet a piece of us exists on every plane of the universe. And we're going to go back and we're going to be able to reconnect to all those pieces. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this I'm going to pass fast, but it's in your book. Okay, it's in your first chapter. Okay, of the on the online program. So you're going to be able to research it, print it out, do whatever you want with it. This is how the Sephiro, which counts 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 10. Okay, starting with Kether at 1, Malkuth at the other end at 10, and then all of the paths 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You see how that works? So those of you who know numerology are going to find that you can, matter of fact, some of you already know your life path. Those of you who don't, here's a short way of finding your life path. Take out a piece of paper right now with me and I'll show you how. We're going to figure your life path out just treating it like a math problem. If you can add, you can do this. So take your birth year. Mine was 1952. So I'm going to add 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 2, which gives me a 17. And then I'm going to add the 1 plus the 7, that gives me an 8. I was born in June, so we're going to add the 6 to that 8. And I was born on the 20th. 2 plus 0 is 2, so I'm going to add a 2 to that. So 8 plus 6 plus 2 gives me 16. And reducing again, 1 plus 6 is 7. So my life path is a 7. By now you should all have your own life path. If your life path turned out to be higher than 9, Doreen, 9 is great. If it turned out to be higher than 9, you're just going to work with the double digit. Okay? But I think you're only going to go up to 9 anyway. Okay? So we have a life path of 7 for me. But behind that life path, path 16 is going to be the number 7 is going to give me, looking back to here, number 7 says that Netzach is my most important Sephiro. I'm going to pay attention to any path that goes in or out of Netzach because it's so important. But guess what? Behind that 7 is the 16 and also the 17. See that? Those other things that were reduced. So I'm also going to be paying attention to path 16. It's going to be real important. And path 17, real important. Okay, so hidden behind that surface life path, that single digit number, there are a whole lot of double digit numbers all the way up to 32, some of them, and that'll give you more insight as to which paths are going to be particularly important to you. Now, folks, that said, we all travel all of these paths at different times in our life. So there's no path that's unimportant. But those paths that accompany your life path, those are extra special because you'll keep going back to them and you'll learn something more. You'll go back and you'll raise the vibration and learn something more. So those paths are with you all of your life and having a lot of learning lessons attached to them. Okay? Questions so far? Everybody following this? Okay. Moving on. I mentioned that the Kabbala is your physical body, right? Well, here it is. There's the Sephiro. There's what we call the lightning flash. We start at Kether and we make a zigzag all the way down the tree. That lightning flash is how energy, oops, I don't know, how did I do that one? That's how energy enters matter. You see that? Kether's at the crown. Hokmah and Bina are at the third eye. Gevurah and Kesed, that's Gevurah 5 and Kesed is 4. They're at the throat. Tiferet is at the heart. Then we have Netzach and Hod going across the solar plexus. Yesod is 9. Malkuth is 10. So as we work the path working, we're going to start way down here on Malkuth. The very first path we do is going to take us from Malkuth to Yesod. And all the way down here, we're already working on opening our root center, healing it, expanding it, bringing more energy in. We're working on opening up our sacral center as we do our path working. All the path working we're doing is also going to be working on our physical body. One of the most interesting things about the psychic energy centers, I'm not going to go into it in great detail, you can find this information elsewhere, but each one of those energy centers correlates to one of the body's ductless glands. And the beautiful thing about those ductless glands is that when they are stimulated, they throw their hormones directly into the bloodstream so they can change your mood, your physical health, the balance of chemistry in your body, your attitude, your consciousness level, that fast. It's incredibly fast. So when you're working on balancing out each one of these chakras through the path working, you're creating actual physical changes in your body. So this is real, folks. This isn't just, wow, sit down and listen to a very nice guided visualization. This is experience real changes physically, emotionally, psychically, spiritually, in a way that rebalances you and puts you back on the path that only you know that you came here to be on, whatever combination of paths it is, where your soul is needing to be. And you get to do that yourself. We're all studying the same paths, but because we're different, they're going to have a different reaction for each one of us. Okay? So another way of looking at it, I mentioned that we have 3 pillars. Okay? Here's the 3 pillars. That middle pillar takes us straight up the spine. That would equate in the Chinese and Indian as the Sushumna, the balance point. And on either side, that's the spine itself, where the energy of Kundalini travels up. If you should release that energy that raises consciousness, normally stored at the base of the spine. We're going to unleash a little bit of that each time we work on it. And they now can detect this with an electronic microscope. On either side of the spine, there's a nerve sheath that's not detectable to the eye. You can't see it if you do surgery, but you can see it under a powerful microscope. And the sheath on one side is called the Pingala. That's the pillar of mercy. The sheath on the other side is called the Ida. That's the pillar of severity. And it is perfectly normal as we move through life for our energies to swing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all over the place. And if we're going to be completely balanced as this figure is, that energy will stay balanced up the center of the spine. So there's a middle pillar, The pillar that's the male pillar is generative. The pillar that's the female pillar is reactive. Those are important concepts, folks. Okay, now here, this is a little simpler. We have Kether being the source of all. I already told you Hoku is father of all, Being is mother of all. But now we also have, if you're into mythology, you have a place you can put mythological figures and get a better understanding of each one of these Sephiroth. Kesed would be the king of the gods, whereas Gevurah would be the god of war. And the sacrificed god, think of Jesus on the cross, is Tiferet, the higher self. The Sephiroth down here, which is Netzach, is all of the love and nature goddesses. And the Sephiroth on the left side of the tree, as you look at it, is the god of wisdom. So you could here see Hermes, a male, or you could see Athena, a female. This has both male and female energies, connotations in it. What's interesting is that I find it funny that the god of wisdom and the god of war are both on the feminine side of the tree. And the side of the tree that's all about nature and artistic and growth and creativity is all on that masculine side of the tree. That's worth thinking about. Okay. The moon goddess is where Yesod is. And then the earth mother, like Demeter, would be at the base of the tree of life, where Malkuth is, or you might think of it as the base of the spine. So we can even connect those parts of our body, not just to the 7 chakras, but we can also equate them to mythological figures, and that helps us to understand them better. In the Hebrew tradition, each one of these Sephiroth is a different aspect of God. Okay, so they see God as one being, but each, when God is acting mad, he's Gevurah. When God is acting merciful, he's Kesed. When God is sacrificing himself, he's Tiferet. When he's being very materialistic, he's Malkuth. Okay, so it's really the same thing. It's just a matter of, i.e., I mention the different religious and mythological traditions only because you can find them here. But what's beautiful is about the Kabbala levels the playing field. Okay, I don't care if you're Catholic. Every saint has its own spot in the Kabbala. I don't care if you study some ancient religion or if you're Hindu. Every one of the gods that you study has its place on the Kabbala. This is the place where it all comes together. We're all one. We can all understand each other, and we can find our spot. Okay, and not only that, but we can work on it and bring it into balance, harmony, and health, which is super cool. Okay, moving on. I'm trying to move fast because I want to make sure I get all this in, and time flies when I'm talking about this stuff. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. There's a lot of information. You guys are saying, oh my God, what is this? This is how astrology equates to the tree of life. So I don't know how many people are here who really love, for example, to study astrology, but you're going to be able to put your whole chart here if you want. But let me just ask, how many, I'm a Gemini, okay? So right over here, this path over here, which you can go back and look, where's the numerology one? That wasn't it. There it is. That is path 17, okay? Isn't that interesting? I'm a Gemini. 17 is one of my paths. And down here, there it is, Gemini. Okay, so you may have to go back and forth between these diagrams to equate the number to the sign, but it's here. Okay, Lisa is a Libra. I don't know how many Libras we have in this class. A lot of Libras take my classes because they follow that wonderful Lisa energy. And lo and behold, we have Libra in a couple of places. It's over here. This is path, what path is it? Let's go look up here again. Where did I put it? There it is. That's path 23. Okay, it's a Libra path. And let's come back. I'll get it right. And we're going to look over here. That's a Libra path too. There's a few different Libra paths. And that Libra path takes us from Tiferet to Gevora. Let's see if I can happen to hit the right one. That's path 22. Lisa, did you know you were on all those paths? I'm teasing her. Okay. Who else sees themselves on the tree? Your sun sign. Everybody knows their sun sign, right? Okay. Beverly says she's an Aquarius. Okay. So, and Doreen's an Aries. So let's look for those. Let's see. Where's the Aquarius? Oh, here's the Aquarius. Okay. So Beverly, your path is going to take you from Yesod to Netzach. There you are. And that is, let's go look at it, path 28. Okay. And then we're going to look at Doreen, who's an Aries. Okay. And let's see where we can find the Aries path. There it is. It goes from Tiferet to Hokmah. You see that? And that's going to be path 15. So you're going to pay close attention to that when we're on that path. And I see Melinda saying she's a Virgo. Let's go down and look at the Virgo. Okay. Oh, look at that. Hod is a Virgo, Sephiro. So what do we do there, Melinda, when the whole Sephiro is Hod? Okay. Well, if you're a Virgo or a Gemini counts on this one too. Guess what? This path between Hod and Gevora, and between Hod and Tiferet, and between Hod and Netzach, and between Hod and Yesod, and between Hod and Malkuth. Melinda, they're all going to be really important paths for you. I have a feeling this left side of the tree is going to be really interesting for you. You're going to have to give us a lot of feedback. Okay, I want to hear all about that. Okay, and you can go back and equate on this. Let's take a look. So Melinda is, because here she is, Hod as a Virgo. So 23 is important, and 26 is important, and 27 is important, and 30 is important, and 31 is important. Oh my goodness. And that could be fun. Okay. Now there may also be a path that is, let's see if there's any other Virgo. I'm kind of looking at it quickly. No, I think that's enough. I don't think you have to have an extra one. That's enough. Okay. Yeah, she has 8 and 26 too, because that's your life path. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Melinda, you're in the right place and you have a lot of work to do. I love it. Now Linda's here, and Linda says she's a Sagittarius with a life path of I'm sorry, my mouth is not working right. 3. Okay. And so let's see, where's Sagittarius? Oh, I did find another Virgo for you, Melinda. Between Tiferet and Kesed. Look at that. There's a Virgo there too. There's also an Aries. Aries and Virgo both. Okay, where's Sagittarius? I know there is one because I've seen it many times, but I'm not finding it right now. Somebody help me. Where's it hiding? Oh, there it is. That's why I missed it. It's hiding underneath here. I should know that. It's path Yesod. It starts in Yesod and takes us up to Tiferet. It's right dead center on the tree. You see it, Linda? Okay. And that is going to be, if you look up here, it's going to be path 25. Okay. And you also have to add your life path in that you said you already found those. Okay. Cool. Okay. And Kelly says, I'm a life path of 9 Libra. Okay. So you're like Lisa. They're not all tying, 2 of them tie into this one, but there are other Libra paths here too. Now, I'm going to really, if you don't have to learn this because this isn't part of what we're doing in this class. But if you are an astrologer or have an interest in studying astrology, all this information is in the VIP membership. We have an entire course in astrology in there, so it's easy to find. And my books are in there. Well, guess what? Each one of these signs has a ruler, okay? So, for example, Linda's a Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, you can see here, the planetary rulership is Jupiter. You see it right there? Well, we can look for where Jupiter is on this diagram, and that's also going to be one of your paths. So the planet itself becomes important. Now, if we look at Jupiter, Jupiter and Sagittarius and Pisces rule Kesed, Linda. So not only is it path 25 over here, but it's the whole Sephiro, just like Melinda. And all the paths that lead into it become important. You see it? Okay. Boy, oh boy, you're going to start to understand a whole lot about your life journey. Okay. And you don't need to understand it intellectually. The Kabbala isn't something that has to be learned with your brain. You're going to experience it, and it's going to unfold through your direct experience. Okay. That's one of the things I love about it. Years back when I said to my guides, I'm studying all these things and I'm teaching psychic development, and I'm working so hard to get my students to unfold and to develop all this higher awareness and to find that spiritual center that just explodes into their personal growth. And so many of my students didn't have the time for it, or they had so many personal issues going on, they couldn't get into it. And lo and behold, I was finding that out of a class of maybe 30 psychic development students, I'd get 5 of them who really grew and developed. And the other 25, I felt like I'd failed them because they just dabbled. They couldn't really get where they needed to go. Well, guess what? My guides they sent me to school on the astral to learn Kabbala Pathworking. And they gave me a system where all you need to do is to listen to a guided visualization with the group. You can just go along for the ride. As a matter of fact, I had one student in Australia who, for most of the summer, she was on a backpack trip in the outback where she had no access to anything. She brought her book along, that was in her knapsack, but she couldn't listen to the past. She had no electronic equipment. She had nothing. And but she kept a diary. And when she came back, she looked at her diary, and week by week by week, she was on every path with the group, the whole path. So what I know about the Kabbala Pathworking is when you join it, it's like you became part of the Kabbala Pathworking ocean, and the wave is going to take you. And even if you can't be here at every session, your soul is going to be here, and you're going to still have the experience, and you're still going to grow. And you didn't have to do anything except be part of this journey of growth. It's just, you'll understand what I'm talking about before long. It's the most amazing thing that I have ever done myself. And it's one of the reasons I'm so thrilled to be able to share it with everyone. I don't know how the heck my guides came up with this, but it is absolutely brilliant. Okay. And you're going to find out the fun way, okay, by doing it. Okay. Having a little trouble moving that cursor. Let's go. Okay. Onward. This also correlates to the tarot cards. So how many of you are tarot lovers? How many of you play with the tarot cards? By the way, I did, oops, I'm going to run over here for a minute. I did finally, after years of thinking about it, I did create a tarot deck, okay, which some of you already have. You can buy it on my website. It's available. You do not have to get it. This is an extra little thing. But what my guides did is they helped me, and each one of these paths, like where's 32? I want to show you path 32, and of course it's going to be the last one. The one you want is always the last one you get to, isn't it? But I've been working with these cards now for a while with my clients as well as in my classes and with my psychic hour. And I've actually it was the last one. I love it. At any rate, this is the card that my guides helped me to design for Path 32. And I don't know if you can see it very well online, but each one of these cards they pick what for me are the major points out of the path, and they bring them together into one card. So when I look at the card, it stimulates the entire path, all of it. So when I'm using those cards, what I've been doing now is I'll pick one of those cards and I'll do my regular reading, because I use normally a Rider-Waite deck when I do my readings. So I'll do my regular reading, but I'll pick one of those cards, and it's amazing because it ties me into the path that the person is on. Because guess what? Everybody is somewhere on this tree of life. Even people who aren't taking this class, they're on the tree of life somewhere. And you know what that means? That means that as we energize this massive wave of moving higher consciousness, not only does it affect us, whether we're in class or not, but it affects our families. It affects all the people we come in contact with. It's like they all get drawn into this amazing ocean of life. So many of us get involved on this journey. And think about it. I've had many hundreds of path workers pass through this class or pass through this class. And whenever I teach a class, it's like a little bell goes off and everybody starts to resonate to those paths. This is a world changing program, folks. All you have to do is participate. And not only do you change yourself and grow in whatever way you're supposed to grow in, but the whole world around you does too. It sends out a ripple effect. At any rate, you can just pull a card. And I'm going to take my little old Rider-Waite cards, not my fancy Kabbalas, but I could just pull a card at random. This is my deck. And say I pull the world, which interests, I love my guides. The world is path 32. See on the bottom on the back, it says path 32. I don't know how they do that, but if they did. At any rate, I can pull any card and it's going to give me, like if I pull this and say, well, what's my day going to be like today? And I pull it and I look at the tree of life and I know that since the world equates to, that's down here, this is path 32. If you go back and you look at your numbers, okay, I'm going to be dealing with path 32 all day. I'm going to be dealing with the energies that tie the physical body and the physical plane to the emotional plane. Those are the energies I'm dealing with. Manifesting reality. What fun. Making choices, organizing, looking at what's the importance of things, relative importance of things in my world. That's what I'm doing today. So you could just draw a card for the day and say, okay, what am I working on today? You could look at your life path, and I think, let's see, Linda said that, I'm looking for somebody I can just pull your life path. Melinda said that her life path is an 8, okay? So I could just pull the 8s out of that deck, okay, and go and look at, okay, wow, I pulled an 8. That means that I'm working on things having to do with Hod today, and that there are 4 8s in the deck. It's like a regular card deck, right? I'm working on things that are going to have to do with the 8s today. So they're all things that have to do with Hod. That's where my world is going to be today. And the fact that it just so happens to be my life path means that I'm going to be right on target with what I'm supposed to be doing as well. How cool is that? So you can kind of give yourself a little spiritual reading just by learning to work with these tools. This is fun, isn't it? Okay. Music. Here are our spheres. This is Kether. This is Malkuth. 1 through 10. They equate to musical notes. So if you hear a high D, that's stimulating Kether. That's stimulating your crown. If you hear an A, that's stimulating. That's that 4th. That one is Kesed. That is stimulating your throat center. If you hear a harp and love a harp, that's stimulating your throat center. It's Kesed. Waves, if you're attracted to the waves at the beach, the tides, that's because you love that your throat center is being balanced when you hear those waves. So here's a way that you can look at sound and bring it back to the Kabbala with you to work on specific things for your own health. Kind of cool. Or, again, I'm going to pick on Linda this time. If Linda knows that, I'm not seeing your life path, Linda, you told me before. Life path 3, okay? If Linda has a life path of 3, then cello music is going to help her to balance into whatever her life path is supposed to be. And she's probably going to love sitting and listening to the rain. That's that life path of 3. It also equates to the Sephiro of Bina. So Linda, every path that goes in and out of Bina is going to be important to you. Okay? Then we go down and we look at our next grid. And here, this is for those of you who are very spiritual. You have the name of the sphere. I've already given you those, each one. You can put the number next to them if you want. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 10. That might be helpful for you to recognize them. Here's their divine name. Now, I haven't given them to you. Kether is known as Ihaya. Hokmah is Yah. Some of you recognize these. Bina is Jehovah Elohim. Kesed is El. Gevora, Elohim Gevor. Tiferet is Jehovah Aloha Badath. Netzach, Jehovah Tzebaoth. Had, Elohim Tzebaoth. Yesod, Shaddai El Chai. Malkuth is Adonai Melech. Now, what are those divine names? Remember I told you before that in the Bible, every time God came out with a different personality, I might have thought he was schizophrenic, but he had different aspects of himself, just like we have of ourselves. And each time he displayed a different aspect of his personality, they called him by a different name. So in the Bible, there's one God with 10 faces. Isn't that interesting? How different is that from mythology or the Catholic Church or the Hindu religion with all of their different gods or their pantheon of saints? Give some thought to that, okay? Kabbala's where we even the playing field. Now, each one of those spheres also has an archangel attached to it. Those archangels are very powerful beings. Folks, I want to get you straight on something, okay? This is going to sound a little way out to some of you. This is real, okay? When we talk about Metatron, and we talk about Ehai, and we talk about Kether, Kether is a level of consciousness which exists on a certain plane of the entire universe. That really exists. It's a very highly refined, rarefied, very, very subtle level that only a tiny infinitesimal part of you connects to yet. But more can be awakened. That tiny part of you will vibrate to this name, Ihaya, in writing more than in words, because the written language of Hebrew is still a sacred language. It's the verbalized language that was lost. And Metatron is the archangel connecting to this. And Metatron is the master of the choir of angels, which are the Kayath HaKadath. I'm not going to go over all of these, but I want to give you a feeling. That is a plane of existence. The energy of Metatron dominates the plane, and think of it as a general. And that general Metatron controls the Kayath HaKadath, who are the, I don't know if I want to call them entities, the sparks of life force that literally holds that plane in existence. At some point in time, pure physics will discover this. Just like they didn't used to know that on either side of your spine was a sheath that in Chinese medicine they had been working with for centuries because they knew it was there even though they couldn't see it. That's the way this is. Okay? Physics can't see it yet, but they know it. They will eventually find it when the technology can allow them to. We're not there yet. We're not evolved enough yet. When we are, we'll understand that these Kayath HaKadath are actually, think of them as tiny bits of energy, tiny bits of light with consciousness. And they go where Metatron tells them to go. And Metatron tells them to go where Ehaya, the god name associated with Kether, says, you need to do this. Get how it works? This is real, okay? And what we're doing is we're activating pieces of ourselves that are on all these higher levels of the universe. It's a pretty amazing journey. Now, I'm not going to go through this because I am kind of running out of time, but anytime you do one of the paths, and I did this before class, I want you guys to do it before class each week too. You're going to find the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram in all of my psychic development classes, level 4 to level 6. You're also going to find it on the free section of my website, written out just like this. On my psychic development classes, you get to actually see me doing it. So if you're taking those classes, or if you have the book, you can get the book actually reads just like this. But in the classes, the video classes, you can actually see me doing it. I will lead you through it because I think you're going to, well, let me ask you, how many people need to see this to be able to do it? Because I know I have a lot of second and third and fourth and fifth timers here. So you know how to do it. How many people need to be brought through it to be able to do it on your own? Anybody? Speak up. Don't be shy. Okay, everybody's got it? Okay, good. You guys are great. So I don't need to do it for you. Always when I come to class, before I'm at these classes, I do this and I spread this protection out to everybody. So does Lisa. So you're coming into a protected space. This entire net that we're on right now is protected. When I lay down at night, I usually like to do my path working at night. That way I'm kind of doing it all night long while I'm asleep. And when I lay down to do that, before I turn on the music, I do my lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. There's a reason for this. Remember I told you, I'm going to go back up here for a minute. I'm going to go back up further. I guess here will be good. I'm having trouble finding what I want to. Let's go all the way here. Looking at the astral plane and the upper astral plane. Remember I told you that the lower astral plane is where all these emotions are? Well, that lower astral plane, unfortunately, we always have to go through to get to the higher levels, don't we? And things live on that lower astral plane that we very often don't want to have anything to do with. They could be old emotional patterns of your own that you run into. They could be issues that you've had with somebody from the past that is still thinking about you, and there it is. It could be issues that somebody else who's having a nightmare because they watched a bad TV show is having, and you happen to run into it. It has nothing to do with you, but it's out there, and you ran into it. So the thing is that on this lower astral, we have this ability to encounter things that don't have anything to do with our growth. Now, there are good things here too. I don't want you to think that the lower astral is all bad. There are a lot of really good things about it. But we're also going to contend with some of those crappy things. So it's very, very important that whenever we do any work at all involving the Kabbala, that we do our protection. That way that crappy stuff is going to stay away. Okay? So if you think I'm a little bit overdoing it sometimes, that's why. Okay? And by the time you are done with this class, you are, all of you, going to be extremely good at navigating the whole astral plane. Because right now, all of mankind moving from 3D through 4D into low 5D. That means we are moving into higher consciousness. We're moving from the purely physical world that we've been living in for many, 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 many thousands of years. And we're energizing those higher parts of ourselves, which move us into living on higher levels of consciousness. All of us on this planet are evolving. And you're going to find that the Kabbala Pathworking helps you to get on track to evolve both more quickly, under greater control, without making mistakes, or at least not as many as a lot of people make. And you're going to be able to avoid a lot of that negative stuff along the way. Because anytime you generate a vibration of high, you're going to attract a vibration of low. Okay? There's always a universal push-pull. That's normal. Okay? The universe evolves at the same time it involves. So there's always this pressure back and forth. So when you're working to evolve yourself, things that are from your past that are going to get in your way are going to come up. And if you do this exercise, this lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram that protects you, you're going to have a whole lot less of those negative things come up to challenge you, to block you, to get in the way of your developing self. Okay? And if you need me to do it for you at some point, let me know. I will be glad to do that. Okay? It happens pretty quickly once you get used to it. And it is a fabulously powerful protection. It comes right out of the Kabbala, by the way. That is the origin of it. A lot of my psychic development students will say, where did this come from? It came from the Kabbala. It predates Christianity. It goes way, way back, folks. Okay? I'm going to come back to this at the end of our class. This is the mandala that I use in my class for our mini path. And all the mini path is doing is getting you aware of what it feels like to path work and to get ready to pull all those 4 elements around you, getting ready to do path 32. That's what that's all about. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that. So here's our process. Okay, and I want you to take a screenshot of this because this process is important. Even though we're all doing the same path working, each one of us is going to have our own experience. And I'm going to want you to participate as a group as much as possible. There is no stupid question. There's nothing that's too way out to share here. You're going to find that as you go through the path working, you might have this weird pain in the left side of your head, and then it moves to your right back molar. You're like, what the hell is that? Share it, because we can research this and we can talk about it, we can equate it. It's really interesting how your physical body even is going to be constantly talking to you. We're going to be talking about our emotional processes. We're going to be talking about synchronistic things that we see in the world around us. We're going to be talking about our relationships with other people and how they're responding to us as we grow and change. Oh my God, there's so much here. Okay. Something, if I have a chance, I don't quite know how I'm going to do it yet, but AI is becoming more and more and more frequently used in our society. And I am going to try and teach you how to interact with an AI to set your own up so that you're also going to be able to bounce your whole process off of that. I'm going to put my thinking cap on, and hopefully when we come back next week, I'll be able to give you the basis of that so we can get moving with that at the same time that we're doing our path working journey itself. So each Sunday, okay, and you can do it Saturday night depending on where you're at in the world, but each Sunday we're going to color the mandala for the path that we're on, or that we're just about to embark on. And then this week, this coming Sunday, is going to be path 32. And then Sunday afternoon or evening, we're going to listen to the path. And I like, if I do it when I'm falling asleep, I have to wait until the next morning. But if I do it earlier in the day, like on the afternoon, I'll have time to be able to write down my experiences, how I felt about the path, did I sleep all the way through it. And by the way, if you sleep through the path, there's nothing wrong with that. That usually means your subconscious is putting your conscious mind out of the way, so you just absorb the material. So if that happens, just write down how you felt when you woke up, okay? But write down your experiences, how you felt about it. Did you like it, not like it? Did anything hurt? Did you feel excited or joyous? Make those kinds of comments. We're going to begin our journal for the week on Monday morning each week. Or you can start journaling right after your path. In fact, right now, starting tonight, because as of now, you're already starting your path working, right? We can do the mini path, and that's going to launch us into path 32 that starts Sunday. So you can start journaling and recording your dreams right now. You're going to find that your dreams more and more begin to relate to the path you're on, which right now will be the mini path, and the next path, that's path 32, and also the entire Kabbala. You're going to start dreaming things that lead you into your own development. Now, this is a little bit difficult to absorb until you get into the feel of it, but the paths ebb and flow. So this week we're going to do 32 on Sunday. Next Wednesday when we meet, we're going to be at a peak of 32. And then as we go through the week, 32 is going to slowly decrease. And 31, which is, we do the paths backwards, 31 is going to start to come in. Okay? So there's a point where the two are balanced between each other. So between Wednesday and Sunday, we'll do 32 this Sunday. It grows and becomes more intense until Wednesday. Then it gradually decreases. And while it's decreasing, 32 is going to sneak up and it's going to 31 is going to sneak up and gradually come in until on Sunday, the following Sunday, we do the mandala and we listen to Path 31. And then the same thing happens. 31 will build until the following Wednesday, and then the next path begins and the two gradually shift back and forth. So there's not a sudden start stop between the paths. And that's the way life is. That's the way the path working is. There's always this flow. One is ending as the next is beginning. There's never a sharp start and stop. Okay? So there can be times when you're experiencing parts of one path and parts of the next path at the same time. Now, you can enhance your experience by putting the tarot card for each path. So in the regular tarot deck, okay, the Sephiroth are the regular numbers, the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. The major arcana, like the world, are the paths. So if you wanted to just separate out the major arcana, that would give you all of your paths. You have a tarot deck. If you have a regular playing card deck, that regular playing card deck only gives you the Sephiroth. It does not give you the paths. So you really do need either a tarot deck, or if you don't have a tarot deck, there's nothing wrong, I've done this many times myself, with your taking a pad of yellow stickies and just write the numbers 32 all the way down to 12, which are your paths. You'll see them written there, and the name of each path. So 32, and write down Malkuth to blah, so you know which one it is. There's nothing wrong with your putting a yellow sticky under your pillow. So you're going to have something, though, physical to put under your pillow. Each path has a stone that connects to it. So I'll put that stone, like on path 32. The stone will be any really earthy stone or dark indigo stone. And so I'll put a stone of that color under my pillow. There are colors you would wear with each. Again, it will be either a dark indigo or an earth tone for path 32. So you might wear that color or put that color on a scarf that you're wearing a lot during the week. The path will, as you read the path, it'll tell you what the scent is. So there'll be a perfume for it that you could put on your pillowcase. All of these things that you do that add into your experience aren't necessary, but will enhance the experience and will take you into it more quickly. Okay? Doreen says, I make a copy of the tarot card, I write down the meaning of it and the meaning of the crystal, and then I put that under my pillow. Oh, I like that, Doreen. I definitely like that. Okay? And I'll tell you what I'm going to start doing this year. I'm going to take my physical cards that I developed, and I'm going to use these under my pillow and see if I get different dreams than what I normally do. I might. Incidentally, I also created an online tarot deck. And again, that's available on my website. And that's a little bit different. It's more interactive. I mean, instead of there being just two faces to the cards, there are five. Okay, and one of the paths is one of the faces is a talking card. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to be able to carry your card deck around with you, on your telephone, that's something you might be interested in too. Okay, use our membership. Remember, we have. I'm talking about the community, not our membership, not the VIP membership, but the Kabbala community. So use the Kabbala community to upload your mandala and record your significant experiences and dreams and put them right on the community. And that way, when we come in, I want to be able to talk about them, to discuss them. For example, let's just take a look over here. Okay, I wanted to take a look at what Doreen wrote. Okay, Doreen's already been into our community. Okay, yes, that's the Doreen who's here tonight. And she said, hello, everyone. So everybody needs to at least go on and say hi so you know how to go on. She says, hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here for my 6th journey through the Tree of Life. I completed the mini path today and I had an emotional response to soaring high above the mountains and having sharp vision as I scanned the landscape. I know this is because of a conversation I had with a close friend a couple of days ago as I told her about how I've worked hard to heal childhood wounds and the muck I've had to go through to get to a place of peace now. Yay, Doreen! But there's still that small part of me, the inner child, that doesn't feel good enough to step out and do what I have my heart set on to do. She told me that I am good enough, and to imagine myself standing on a mountain and see myself as a survivor and be proud of the work I've done. This flipped my inner script and gave me the same exhilarating feelings that I felt soaring above the mountains. I pulled 3 tarot cards as I listened to the video: the Page of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Devil. I'm a beginner student of tarot, and what I got was validation of what I've been through and where I'm at now. The Page of Cups represents emotional openness. Let me see if I can slide this down and see a little bit more of it. Okay. Um, Where did I lose my feelings here? Okay. And new beginnings. The King of Wands represents the desires to manifest the life I want. The Devil represents me breaking free of any perceived limitations. I welcome any insights you may have of these cards. I look forward to seeing you in class and taking this journey with you all. Now, I answered, okay? Either I'll answer or Lisa will answer or some of the other students will comment. I said, welcome, Doreen. I'm also very excited to begin this year's Kabbala Pathworking journey. I love the cards you chose. They will, that was a W, help you focus more strongly on specific paths and important placements on the tree of life for this journey. Okay, and I didn't go into the depths of it because I was waiting for some of you guys to jump in and offer your opinions, whatever your background is. And so I left that to you. And a lot of times I'll do that. I'll make a comment just to kind of give a little bit of guidance or direction and then see where you guys take it. Now, Bree, this is from last year. This is how long ago. I want to show you what a mandala looks like. She loaded this up sideways, but we finished with the lightning flash after we brought all the energy up to Kether. We brought it all back down again. And this was what she colored. Okay. Kind of interesting. Sorry, I can't turn it sideways. Let me see. There might be one under this. Oh, isn't that neat? We finished around Christmas time. Here, this is a better one. Right side up. So this is an example. They're all different, but each one of these mandalas helps you to draw on they call it drawing on the right side of the brain, helps you to balance your intuitive body. Linda says in here, if we haven't done the mini path yet, should we do that and path 32 this week? Linda, we're going to do path 32 together right now. And if you're listening to this on hindsight, because not everybody's here tonight, then you can either listen to it on the actual program in your in the website, or you can listen to it with me here. What I did, I don't always get a good rendition of this, and this is the end of the class, by the way. So I'm going to play this for you, and then I'm going to answer any questions that you might have, and then we're going to be done. And you can also comment on how this makes you feel. So let me play it. Yep. Here we go. Close your eyes. Take a few moments to gaze at your mandala. Then slowly let your eyes drift shut. Our quest begins here. As your mind drifts clear of this present time and place, you open your inner eyes to a beautiful and intoxicating landscape. You walk through a green meadow. Tall mountains rise in the distance.
You are awed by their majesty. Wind ruffles the tall heads of grain in a field nearby, and gurgling splashes of sound emanate from a stream. The sun pours down over all, a welcome warmth filling the senses. You stretch up your arms, reaching towards its eternal warmth, letting the light of the sun penetrate your body and your spirit. The sun's rays glint off the distant mountains like sparks of fire, and the mountains reflect light in every color of the rainbow. Soon a gentle rain begins to fall. At first, you revel in the cool drops, and soon you are thoroughly wet. Having nothing to lose, you enter the stream, and the rain, coming harder now, runs off of your body to merge with the waters of the stream. Somehow, in spite of the rain, the sun still shines down upon you, and soon you find yourself in the middle of a torrential sun shower. Rain and sun beat down upon you, as all tension and worry is washed out of you and carried away by the stream in which you stand. Before long, you feel thoroughly clean in body as well as in spirit. The rain stops, and you climb from the stream to lie among the flowers lining the stream bed. The scent of wild flowers and the calls of wild birds surround you. Your mind begins to drift into the natural sounds and feelings all around you. You feel totally distanced from the everyday life you have left behind. You begin to wonder what it would be like to carry this peace and tranquility, this feeling that all is right with the world, with you always. You watch the flight of an eagle far above you, and for a moment, your awareness looks out through his eyes. You feel the fierce freedom of flight, the exhilaration as the strong air currents carry you up, high over the mountain range. You revel in your freedom. You are thrilled at being able to see everything so clearly, so completely. Your attention snaps back into your own body, and you wonder what it would be like to have that clarity of vision and that sense of freedom, objectivity, and total oneness with the world around you, active in your own life. A vision of the tree of life appears before you, and you see it now, like a road map, complete with road signs, speed limits, warning and informational signs. The vision pulses like a beacon, and you know that this roadmap will guide you along a path that will teach you, like the eagle, to fly high above those distant mountains, to reach the highest peaks of your own potential, a potential you yet barely know exists. Excitement fills you. Your whole being vibrates with excitement and expectation. You are ready. Ready to begin on a path towards your own higher development, a higher development and enhancement of self that will have far-reaching and beneficial effects on your entire life. Your consciousness returns once again to your physical body, and you feel yourself refreshed, revitalized, and ready to begin our journey. Let your awareness return to this time and this place, and be ready to begin the 30-second path.
Okay, everyone, bring your attention back to this time, this place. How do you feel? You can just open your mic and talk, or you can put a note in the chat if you like. What was your response to that? How did it make you feel? I have a feeling everybody is still out there. Kelly's here. She says, relaxed. I tried to fall asleep. Kelly, it wouldn't be the first time. As I was listening, I was hearing what Doreen wrote in our community on about this path. So Doreen, you had a synchronistic experience with the conversation with your friend and then the experience of this path. That was pretty cool. Linda says it made me feel positive anticipation for embarking upon the paths. Yeah. Every path is different. They're all going to have the same path can make one person feel enlightened and excited and make another person feel, tired and drained. It's not about the paths, it's about how you respond to them. And you may have a path like Doreen has taken these something like 6 times. She might have a path that she took last time that she absolutely hated and was really miserable, and she's on that path this time, and it's the most uplifting thing that she's ever experienced. Um, the thing is, the paths are totally unique to you, even though we're listening to the same thing. It's affecting you uniquely to you, both in terms of who you are now, but also in terms of what your current life experience is and how you're internalizing things. So this is why so many people come back over and over again to take them, because it's not ever the same. It's a different experience every time. And it's just as uplifting because you are at a different place, but each time you're at a higher level. So you're starting at that higher space energetically, which is so cool. Okay, I now let me change subjects. Now I wanted you to have a feeling and understanding for what the paths were going to be like when you did them. The shortest one is 24 minutes. The longest one is 45 minutes. They're not the same length. So I'm going to suggest that when you do them at home, you get yourself set up where you're not going to be disturbed or bothered for a 45-minute period, because I'm not sure which one. I think it says on right up there when you know where the arrow is that you hit, it'll say how long that particular path is. But just get into the habit of allowing yourself 45 minutes and maybe a little time afterwards to come back down and get your bearings again. Lisa says, I like listening to these paths in my own private space with headphones. It hits me a little deeper. Oh, absolutely, Lisa. It definitely does. Now, I should add, these are not, I wish they were, but they're not hemisync. So it doesn't matter if you have headphones, which side you have the earphone on. They're going to be exactly the same coming through each earphone. And yes, that's me. That was me when I was a whole lot younger. So my voice sounds a little bit different, but that's still me. hmm Okay. Before I end our class tonight, this kind of weird, drifty space that you're in right now, this is typical of the path working. So some of you may decide that you want to do your paths at night because it leaves you in this comfortable zone to sleep with. Some of you might decide, I want to do them in the morning because I have a better chance at staying awake through them. I have had students sleep through the entire lower part of the tree and suddenly wake up as soon as we pass teeth breath and are awake for the rest of the paths. So whether you're awake or asleep doesn't matter. The important thing is that you listened, okay? Because the information gets in, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you're absorbing it. And that drifty feeling tells me that you should not be operating any electrical equipment or driving a car when you've completed the paths. So just be careful about that. That also says, please do not listen to these while you're driving. That would be a very bad thing. Okay? Kind of takes you out of control. And moving down again. Next week, just to see where we're at, on Sunday, this is the mandala you're going to color. You're going to be doing path 32. Let me show it to you here on your in your book, actually in your website. Where am I? Okay, this is what the top is going to look like. There's your path. You hit the arrow and you get to listen to it. If you're on the app, I listen to mine on the app because I can take the phone to bed with me and I listen to them in bed with my earphones so I don't bother my husband. So you're gonna be pressing that arrow to get it started. All of your downloadables are on the right. Take a look at them, download them when you start. And if you're using the app, the downloads are going to be at the very bottom. You have to scroll way down. If you need anything that's not listed, contact Lisa. She'll get it to you. Now, when you're done, let me see if I can go back to the other one. I may be able to. I want to show you what the path we've just done. Okay, we just completed this one. This is our mini path. And this just gives you an overview of the class. I don't know if I have. Yeah, no, I didn't. Okay. let's just go on to the next lesson. I thought I might have this on the mini path. But what you're going to find is that as soon as you're done with the path, there's a whole section at the bottom where you're going to be able to make comments here. But I would prefer that instead of making the comments here, you make them in the community, because I may not be monitoring this, but I will be monitoring the community. And also in the book, there's going to be a place to record your dreams. Print those pages out. That's on that right side with the downloads. There's going to be a place where you can actually journal your experiences through the week. I think that's very important. And when we come in next week, we're going to talk about things that Path 32 will have you working on. And you're going to be able to look back at your journal, and you're going to be able to look back at the week and say, oh, yeah, I experienced that. Oh, yes, I was working on that. Okay, so you're also going to have a section, and I think you'll see this under here, but I would almost prefer you didn't look at it first. Yeah. See, areas the 30-second path will help you with. Go through the week first and then look back. Okay, see how, without you thinking about it in advance, look back at it and see if how did you have those reactions. Were those things, any of them, part of your life? Okay, don't put them into your head first. So, are there any questions before I let you go for this evening? I gave you a lot to think about tonight. No? Okay. Going once, going twice. And I will see you on Sunday on the Astral. We're all doing the path. And I'll meet with you next Wednesday. Okay? Namaste. From my heart to your heart. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see where this journey takes us all. I'm excited for all of you and for me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
You're welcome.